You know, Jeremy, I've been using a list that I had before that Pam had sent me to send out emails. Um, and I hadn't realized there are a few people that are not on the list, and you were one of them. And I remembered that at one point I think I had your email address, but then I couldn't find it. Sometimes I think it's my aged brain just doesn't always remember where I've put things or what I want to say sometimes. So, today is going to be a lot of review, especially for people, maybe there's new people who will come in and watch the replay. Hopefully I have it set up so it will do the replay today. Last week we did have the evening class and it didn't, for some reason I couldn't find it in YouTube to release it to the public. So today, this is the design class that we're going to talk about. Design elements in it, but not specifically each one. We're only going to talk about them. As we, I gotta open up my document here that I want to open up. We're only going to talk about them as we look at other designers and other patterns, and we'll use the terminology as we discuss them. We've done that before, so right now I'm just navigating to what I need today. Okay, this is before I only had the, I got to show you my screen, I guess, for this. I only had this in kind of a table form with no graphics, and I wanted to redo some of the items, and I think you'll remember that. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. That I have said before that the way these are organized and are not always the same. When you go online, if you might look at some artist sites that have the elements and principles of design, there might be anywhere from 5 to, I've even seen 12 sometimes, elements. And the same, there'll be different numbers of principles, and some of them, like value down here at the bottom of the principles. A lot of artists, and these design principles are for not just artists, but other fields. Even like engineering, when they're designing something, they can use these. They're just guidelines for having a good design. People who build websites and things like that. So we just use them. You won't really think of each of them maybe as you're designing a pattern. But if your pattern is having a problem and something just doesn't look right, you think something's off, or it's just not appealing enough, it needs more, maybe more consistency, or maybe more variety, you can look at these and check to see how they're working in your design and what you might need to add or take out. And you won't use all of them, maybe you might use them in different ways, but that's what they are, as guidelines. For tatting, we're basically talk about line, we'll talk about chains. Chains are a line in your design, whether it's an arc or looks straighter or squiggly or whatever. Shape is 2D. It's the outline of something. Now, something that is 3D, like if you were designing a 3D design, that would be form. And then, of course, shape, whenever you have a shape, you have spaces inside it and outside it. So we'll look at the spaces, and then texture and color. A lot of people put value over here, but value, which is on the bottom over on the principles, is really an attribute of color. So we're going to take these, and like maybe you've got your shape might be a triangle, or which maybe it's a clover, and the three shapes make a triangle. So you can vary the size of them, the proportion, proximity, how close they are together. Tatting has a lot of repetition, but you can, change how you use that repetition. Repetition and pattern and rhythm all kind of go together, because when you repeat things, you start creating a pattern. And patterns can create rhythms. And these will all be explained as we study other tatting. And emphasis, you can emphasize something, and then there's the value of the color. You can alter the values or the tones or any of the color attributes. And what happens is, if you use these to, I don't have balance on here, but did I put it down here? No. Okay, another one of those that I have to redo a little. It should have balance over here. But actually using any of these can create balance, although it's usually considered a principle, balancing your items. And you do that to these elements. And we'll talk about design elements and tatting elements, which are your tatted formations, like your common ones, the clover, or your ring that you climb out of for the center of a medallion. And they create variety, contrast. I put emphasis there again. I did this pretty fast recently. And dominance, a focal point. If you've maybe got something you've made a proportion a lot larger than other things in yours, that might create a focal point. A lot of times you don't have a focal point in tatting, but you would have dominance. It might draw your eye to it first. Rhythm, pattern, they all create movement, and then you need consistency if you use these well. And I did print this in black and white because I know that color is more expensive to print out. But you can always take, and I'm going to use a little colored pencil on mine that I had printed out, just to color up the little, these little swirlies and the outside of the, I made them shuttle shaped. And when they're used well, you come out with a design that's interesting. It has harmony, even though it does have the variety. And it has appeal and an overall unity. So this is what we're after. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the supplies, your basic necessities for designing. I use copy paper all the time. I mean, that's one of my main ones that I use for designing, is just, and you can see we're going to be talking about the round robin project that Tammy is doing in the classes. And my printer's not working. I was going to print out more things, but you can probably see that one of my pages doesn't even have anything on it, but this one is all faded out. It didn't even print all the type and everything. So, copy paper. And if I'm using copy paper, I will tend to put it on a clipboard when I'm drawing. And instead of a clipboard, I just have a heavy piece of cardboard. Actually, this is cardstock. Well, no, it's not cardstock. It's mat board that they do around pictures for framing. It's the mat board around the outside, which is why I happen to have a purple. I had gotten from the place that does framing, I'd gotten a bunch of their leftover pieces that they weren't going to use again. And that's nice and sturdy, but just really heavy cardboard or a couple pieces. And that makes it really nice and easy to draw on. I also keep my things in plastic pages, and there's a reason for that. These are drawn in pencil, and that's what you do most of your sketching. If you're a person who likes to sketch before you tat. Now, there are a lot of different ways to design. You don't have to sketch. For me, it helps, and I love drawing, and they don't even have to be. These aren't my initial sketches. These have been refined a bit. Sketches can be messy, and besides copy paper, artists even still write. This is an envelope. I had some ideas, and I just grabbed a blank envelope. And you can see how messy some of these things are. They're not complete ideas, but I can transfer them then, either redo them into a notebook, these ideas, or cut them out and stick them in a notebook or on a copy or page copy paper. But plastic pages, when you're using your sketch and tatting, this will keep the pencil from rubbing off onto your piece of tatting, and that will happen. So whenever you're tatting and trying to tat and put it down to check and see if it's coming out the shape you want, you're going to want to have plastic or a piece of acetate or anything over the top that'll protect you from getting smudging of pencil all over your paper. And I just like to use just a plain old mechanical pencil. And I do get, the erasers are usually pretty good. And you can get refills, I have one right here, that you can put in your pencils and just pick out one. Now this is a big one. It won't fit in here, but I can stick it in, and you can see, whoops, you can see how long it is. And I would just use an X-Acto knife or some scissors and cut it off. But these are just eraser refills for your mechanical pencils. I think there is one pencil that actually this might fit in totally, so oops, I'm having trouble here. Another, whenever you're drawing with pencil or sketching, I like either and I will start adding things to the bottom of the videos or get this all on a supply sheet. This Staedtler Mars plastic, it erases really, really nicely. Or there's a Prismacolor Magic Rub. This is really the one I prefer, but any eraser will work. And like I said, the ones on the mechanical pencils work, but they do wear down really fast. So that's it for the pencils. And there are a lot of different kinds. I'm sure you'll find one that you really like. Another thing I'll often use is, of course, a notebook. Now, you might be starting your binder with index cards, which work great. And I'm going to make one. I haven't made mine yet, but I'm going to be making one. And what I've got is just a small, excuse me a moment, it went behind my screen. I have these small Ziploc baggies that I'm using. Now, I know they probably aren't, they're not acid-free, but I've kept things in regular baggies for years, and they're still fine. If I'm using samples for design, I just have a repositional tape runner, or you could use permanent, it depends. And I will just, I'm going to just run it over my card in the middle. And you probably, I don't know if you can see this, but there is a piece of tape going right across here, right across the center. And I'm going to stick my baggie on it. So now my baggie's on there. Oops, it didn't stick. This isn't my, I don't like, this is a Scotch, and I do not like it because it just doesn't roll well. Let's see if I got some on this time. Now see, it's not even working. I don't know why. Maybe it's out of, no, it's not out. So anyway, stick my plastic baggie on there and stick my sample in it. Another thing, and of course then you want to punch your holes if you're going to keep it either in one of those binders like Tammy showed how to make the covers and all, or you can keep it, just put one hole and then put rings on it. Or you could even, if you have one hole, I think I have my puncher right here. Ah, there it is. That also is a new one that I'm not sure I like. It's hard to figure out exactly where the center is because it doesn't have any markings. I think I'd like to go back to the old-fashioned scissor kind, but I'll just put a hole in here. Oops, it didn't even go down far enough. And you could just stick a paper clip to it. I do that a lot. So that works. Oh, and on my cardboard, of course, I just used a binder clip to hold everything together. The other way I always do, I know that some of you have seen this before, is just a soft plastic notebook. This happens to be my, I keep ideas and everything in here. This is my Paisley one. And there's a Paisley drawing I made. You can see that's half of my Heart's Desire pattern. And I have, this is a regular snack size Ziploc baggie that I have, oops, there it is. You can see it flopping around there. That I've just punched holes in and use to keep along with the pattern I'm working on. Because sometimes you have more, like I've got, you know, more pages that'll just fit in other containers. Sometimes I buy these at the dollar store, I believe, and it's just, it got an envelope and then an outside flap too. Like maybe if I'm working on one design, if I was going to work on this every day, on that one particular Paisley, I'd probably pull all the pages out, either have them on a ring, just with a clip or two, just on a regular, what do they call them, split rings that you can slide things in them, or the paper clip, or I might put them all together in a file like this. Another thing I love using, and they come in either plastic or cardboard, are the little, they go in the notebook, and they have the plastic ones. Does I get have pockets on both sides. And you can even fit, like I have This is some old sketches I have of hearts, since I had them out since Valentine's Day is coming. And there's a paisley. And even those will fit in here. However, you do have, like, if they're in the plastic pages, I'd want to, if I wanted to use it in my book, I'd have to match up the holes of the paper holes and the plastic holes. Oh, and here's one of those again that has the thing, and I have my samples of some graph paper in here. Let's see. And another thing is, if I'm not using copy paper, a lot of times I'll just use, I have a sketchbook here. And you can see, these I just did recently. When you're designing something like a heart, you know, there's a lot of hearts out there. But I have looked at them and realized the more I've looked at a lot of them, and I'll tend to go to Pinterest or just do a Google search and look at the images. Now I have to admit, I'm not going to be using these to show anybody or do anything. It's personal use. So for that purpose, I'm not worried about keeping a copy of them for my own reference. So what I'll do is just copy the whole page on the computer, whether it's the Bing with all the pictures. Now you do get extra stuff in there. You have to clean them up a bit. But I'll just copy them all and maybe keep them, paste them into a Word document. Just so I can go back and, you know, I can see. I like to know what's been already done. And what I noticed is the hearts don't have very much variety. I mean, they have variety inside of them, but the shape is typically your just symmetrical, maybe 2-3 inches tall, 1.5 inch, whatever. And so when you're thinking originality, think about like hearts. Make them a longer shape. Make the two sides. This is going to be a asymmetrical balanced, because it's not going to look exactly the same on either side, rather than having the exact mirror image on the other side. Add curly cues at the bottom, or, you know, some of them will have a flower or some thing in the middle, but a lot of them don't have anything in the middle, with then the heart being built around it. So there's another one. Think about this type of variety when you're doing something common like a heart. Are you seeing this okay? I'm not looking at I should be looking at my chat box, and I'm not. Let me get my chat box up here so I can see. I think it went down to the bottom of the page. No, it's not down there. Oh, there it is. It's on with my no, it's not on there either. I just lost my YouTube to see the chat. I'm going to pull it up again here. Isn't that strange? Well, getting back into this is, oh, there it is. I see it. It's on the Elements and Principle page I pulled up. Here I am. Oh, hi, Pasha. I see people that have come in since I said hello to everybody. Hi, Sue Hansen. Printed stuff can rub off too, right? Printer's ink, yep. Especially like inkjet is one of them, which is what we usually all have. A B soft pencil rubs out easier than a hard, yes, yes. A snack bag, yep. You're doing great, Sue, thank you. And Sue, thank you for your emails, and those I'm going to look at again, and probably, Sue has sent me some, she usually does send me some tips and hints after a class that I can use to make the learning experience better knowledge. She has so much knowledge to share with us all. And so, no worries, okay. So that's what's so wonderful about this group. I learn a lot too. And I'm always open for any suggestions or ideas you have, or requests for anything. In fact, maybe I'll ask right now. It's a good time to ask for, if there are any questions or any comments. I'll watch for a minute and get them in, and then we'll talk about them. So I'm just going to watch for a minute while I open up the next things we're going to use after we look at when we start looking at the doilies. No questions, okay. The only other thing I want to mention is dot grid paper, or if you want to work on some grids, that's one possibility. I mean, there is dot grid paper. I don't have my sample right here, or regular squared paper. But we're also going to look at, oh, here's my printed out copy. I guess I do have it here. I am redoing, I had a lost file, the polar grids that we can use for medallions or doilies. And I will have that finished up this week. Somehow when I was switching my computer around to fix it, I lost some things. You did wonder. Thank you. Thanks, Sue, for that answer. Yes. The one thing about like your pencils is I tend to, rather than using my sketch pencils like my HB or my B, I just like the way I have found that you're not drawing when you sketch. You're lightly sketching. You don't want to press down so you're leaving marks in the paper or making a heavy outline. Yes, I do too, Kaylin. Some people don't. But I have found that usually, now this happens to be a Bic, and I usually don't get I usually buy the finer line ones. I think this one's a 0.9 millimeter. It says 0.9 millimeter number 2. Okay. I just like that these work and you don't have to keep resharpening them. That's the big thing. Yes, I think that's what mine are too. They're Staedtler, same as that eraser. I think my sketch pencils are Staedtler. I think that's about all. No one has any more questions for this. We are going to work with the, I set it aside here. I better put some things out of the way if I've already used them. And we'll have more tips and hints as we go along. I'm looking for the paper I just had. I don't think it's on here. Or is it? It is, okay. what I have done, we're going to talk about, I think the US are the same, yes. I think my range is from about the same as that one, HB, and there's like an HB2 and an HB, like she said, 4. I'll have to look and check what the full range of the US pencils I have. Like I said, I think they're that Staedtler brand, but you can get all different kinds of sketch pencils. It's spelled like this. I will get a list of some of these with my favorites on there. So we're going to in our design class, we're going to work on designing how you go about designing the next rows on this round robin that is started. And like I said, one of the main things we talk about is shapes, and we want to look at shapes today. Now for this one, I did, because my printer's not working, I would have I could have cut this out and pasted it in the center of a piece of copy paper. But since my printer's, not working to give me a copy, I just went to my window. I have a light box, but I just went to the window and traced it. And the one thing to notice about this is when you're doing a design and you're writing the instructions, you want to have down what size thread you're using and whether you are going to make your diagrams to correspond to the actual size. If you look at this, these two rings down here, where they're showing this is an enlargement right here, because look how much smaller these are. And you should indicate on your pattern, if you have a picture or diagram, is this the actual size made out of that size thread? So people know that they're not, when they're tatting, they're not going to come out with what you show if you have your diagrams and your photos are not actual size of the piece from that particular thread. And that's one of the things we'll talk more about in the tatting, diagramming with Inkscape class tonight. So what I did is just copied it. I just copied the center one. I don't have the extras put on it. There. What I was going to show you was actually drawing it on there, but like I said, most of you are not brand new, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. To get a quick little grid here to work out on, I know that if I'm going to let me click with my pencil, I'll show you. I'm going to put on the next row with just a very messy version of what it is. And this is how I sketch. I mean, obviously it's not totally even at all, but using this as a guide, you're going to be tatting it according to the number of stitches, so that will come out even. So when you're just drawing your initial sketch, it can be messy. But now I know how to put in a polar grid, because I know that down these sides from here up to there is one section, and it's going to be split into 6 angles. And I know that if you're going to have 6 angles, one of them will be straight across the center. Now, a ruler can be good to have. If you don't have a ruler, it's easy to just use anything, a piece of paper, although a cardstock is better, or an index card. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to draw the line across. And another thing that I'm going to talk about a little later is having, or soon, is having, my stuff's rolling around my table. I have a 4-color pen here that I get from, I buy them at Walmart, and I don't see it here. But it actually has 4 colors in one. It's probably on the floor somewhere. And you just click for whichever color you want. And I have always had one of those and used it when I'm taking notes on things. And I'll write down what's actually said in the regular blue or black. But then my own thoughts, I will write down in red to the side. Through college and everything, this is what I've done, so that I know which things are my own ideas and thoughts, and which things the person who I've written the quote from is. But I do happen to have a red pencil here, and or a red pen, just to show you. And I'm going to use a permanent marker. This one doesn't even have a name on it. Let's see what it is. Oh yeah, it's a Pentel. And I'm just going to draw that line across and line it up totally horizontal. So there's my line, my horizontal line. Now I'm just going to draw between a line on either side of this, 2 of them. And I'll show you. I'm laughing because I didn't draw them in the right place. I have one of these already done. I don't know. Well, I know. You see, I've got my 6, but I don't have it centered upright. Oh. I know what I just need is the I was supposed to put it to the side there. What am I thinking? I might just provide you with the pre-printed ones, because I didn't come out right what I was thinking here. Because what I want to do is come out with my lines. I'll show you. Anyway, you can just start drawing then your next rows. And I'm not showing you the best way to do that right now. But that's the other thing, rather than tracing it, like I said, just cut out your printed out copy and paste it in the center of your paper, and you're ready to start going around and design. But let's look at, I always have something that doesn't go right, I know that. Let's look at the doilies that we want to look at and study. And one of them is I will put it up on the screen so that we can look at it. And you can always go to this also. This is Muscan's Tips, tipsaroundthehouse.blogspot.com, and then it's, I'll put that, I need to start adding these to the bottom of the YouTube screen. I think I know how to do it, but I'm not positive. But I want to look at, put my YouTube studio down. This doily right here, this was part of the Endrux project that Muscan's been doing, and this is a wonderful doily to study. It's, oops. Oh, I really dislike it when Pinterest decides to, I really dislike it when Pinterest decides to put up what they want. Let me just zoom in here. And we want to look at the shapes of it that you see. And I want to talk about repetition. Now you can see for emphasis, this right around here is thick. It's got some double chains all around that make this look thicker than anything else on the doily. And it helps you draw your eye to the center point. Usually in a doily, there often is a center point that is kind of the focal point and where you start. Although naturally we might tend to look in the center and look out. But this, because of the contrast in denseness compared to other areas, this is visual texture. And it emphasizes the round shape. And this is really interesting because of the shapes in it. Now these, what is the repetition that helps for consistency is this U-shaped, upside down, I'll do the bottom one, this U-shaped chain. Notice that it is also replicated in this U-shaped space, just down and to the right a little bit. See how that is the same, it mimics this shape. And also, you know, the end of it, this chain and these chains that connect these two sections, they are the same as the arcs on the outside edge. What else do you notice about this? What else can you pick out? Something you really like about it, something you think makes it unique, shapes that you like. Let's just talk about it and think about the design elements and principles. I think I again have my YouTube hooked with something else. I need to find my chat again. Sorry guys, I've lost my chat again. I'm not quite into the rhythm of this videoing yet again. I'm going to just switch here a minute. I don't even have my bookmark. No, I can't find. Oh my gosh. I'd ask you for ideas, Sue, but I know I've got to go find my link and click it again. And I do have that on a Word document, I know. So I'm going to get to it this way. I tell you, this getting older is such a pain. Can't even find my own channel now. I just get blank sometimes, and maybe I shouldn't be teaching online anymore. There we go. There's my channel. I gotta go find my video again. Okay, now I have the chat box back. Oh, let's see. You were thinking negative space. Oh, the erasable pens. Yes, Kaylin. You like the flow of the design and the negative space. Yes, the negative space is one of the things that now I've lost Muskans. I tell ya. Email the link to Muskan's pattern. I sure will. I'll send everybody the email link. The negative space is captivating. Yes, that's something to really think about. You like the flowers, the negative space in the middle. Yes, you guys are really recognizing some really good parts of that. I'm going to just open up a new window, I guess. I don't even see it in my here I go, you're seeing my screen, tips around the house. And I'm going to go search for, I gotta make this. Oh, there's the board. I bet she's got it on here. I know she's got it on here. Well, look at her tatting and design. She has done a whole lot in years past in the class, and in the design class. This class has been going since 2010, with some little breaks here and there that I tend to need sometimes. Where's her doilies? Well, I know you can see it, but, well, you can't see it anymore because I don't have it up. Oh, I know. See, this is why my brain doesn't work. History, I want to go to my history. Recently closed. Nope, that's not the one. It was the other one, recently closed. Must be way down here when I opened it the other day. Gosh. I think it was called Bridging Gaps. Here we are. It was called Bridging Gaps. And I will send this. Okay. Yes, the negative space in the center was mentioned. The flowers. Now, what's interesting is this looks like a flower. And I'm going to show you this done in color. We're going to look at it in a minute. And that's really the only actual flower. And the chains form petals on a larger flower with the center for the inside of it. And that's one of the things, Jeremy, I think Jeremy, you mentioned that, a lot of people, some of these things you don't pick up on when you're looking actually at the piece. Another, the variety in this piece is, to me, amazing. And the way the spacing is on putting together, I'm looking at the very top, the arc that has 5 rings on it right there. I better look and see, are you still seeing my, yep, you're still seeing what I'm doing. Okay. Good. The second is MDs look like roses or tulips. Oh, okay. Like the contrast of the larger rings in the middle to the smaller ones. Yeah, there's your, it's your contrast with the sizes of, like here's, these 2 rings are all larger size compared to all the smaller rings, but they're all ring shape, and that helps add to, you've got the variety along with consistency because it's a ring shape being repeated, even if it's not the same size. And yeah, to me, the negative spaces, and that can really make or break a doily. If you don't have enough negative space, it can look all just kind of no place to focus on. Now, I'm not saying that can't be a beautiful doily, but they're not as, I think, eye-catching and interesting as the ones that have the space. But again, that's a personal preference. So think about your own personal preference when you design, but also that other people are going to want to tat it. Just make some grand designs, yes. But that was, okay, that was tatted by her, but all these patterns come out of the Endrux book. And I should have that link for you. If you go on the website, you'll find the Endrux project on the online tatting classes website. My website, Tammy said I had a website right now, it's in the process because I switched hosting services and then had to switch. I had GoDaddy, and I had my domain name through them. And so I had to switch and have it point to my new HostGator site. And I don't have all the technicalities worked out of it yet. But then I'll have a place that all these links will be that you can always get to. But also the online tatting class, this is listed in there too. What else did somebody like? The pattern is the email pattern is something to look forward to. For this one, you mean not for the round robin, because I think Tammy gave that out already. Music woke you up, the negative space. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned the negative space. And then I've mentioned the texture and the repetition. The interesting thing about the all-over shape, and this is our visual perception, and it's called inferred shapes. Our brains are set up, and I think some of this goes along with, I think the Gestalt theory covers some of this. Our brains know what circles look like and know what other shapes look like. And so, okay, yes, I will get you all the information about this. And I will send it out in an email. Our brain finishes things that aren't complete. Now, this is a complete circle. This is complete. But even if it wasn't, we recognize a circle. But does anybody see another shape that's in here, or a shape that this design could have gone to? What other shape, instead of making this look on the very outside and as a whole as a circular coaster or doily, what other shape do you see in there, an overall shape that maybe the design could have gone in a little different direction? Anybody? Yes, the octagon, Sue. Exactly. Stephen. Oh, hi, Stephen. Yes. Jill. Hello. Yes. The octagon. You can see it in this outside, the second chain line in, and you see right at the top of the middle of the 5 rings in an arc, the very center one, that is a point of an octagon. And so on this last row, it could have been like another big ring put here that kind of completed the, don't do that to me, Pinterest. Clicked in the wrong place. That would, on your next row, make it look more octagonal. And anywhere in here, and the reason is, if instead of arced chains here, it was a little straighter, or maybe even on here, something had been added that looked more like corners. And you kind of see it here. If you look even on this center, on this double chain row, even if something had been added to make more distinct corners on that, oh my gosh. This right here could have gone into an octagon shape too. And these are the kind of things to experiment with. You know, I started these classes in 2010, and throughout the years, a couple of students that have been in class regularly are Moose Can and Nanetta. And I'm not saying I taught them to design, but I do know that they both said that they've learned a lot, more. And when we were in Chatsey, it was so easy to have back and forth conversations and share ideas. And I'm hoping to get this group going more like that. And like this, with all of you answering. So we can share our ideas and thoughts. But both of them, whatever topic we are on, if we were talking about making corners or something like that, they would go back and play with it for the next week before class and come back with so much more. Could even add something larger to 4 of the sides. Yes, to make it into a square, though that would mess with the rotational symmetry. It might not. I guess it would make if you started that in the beginning, you'd still have the symmetry all around, Jeremy, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, Kaylin. That's Kaylin's. You even adding something larger to the 4 sides. Yeah. There's a lot that you could do here that would make it do different things. But think about the variety and the repetition and keeping it with consistency, though. Have enough repetition for consistency. And even the way these are grouped, instead of them going all the way around, gives you a nice visual look that's really interesting. Really interesting. Now this shape, between these groups of 5, the one thing you do see, it's an odd-shaped space, but you've still got the arc there, and then the arc above that repeat. And this one, for an added little detail, has, to make it even a little more interesting, has got picots added. And in the inside, that's a nice contrast too, because the negative spaces are really highlighted, especially because there's only 1 picot on each side of the double rings. And so that keeps the negative space uncluttered, just like it is in the center chains. It's uncluttered. And that's a nice contrast to where you start seeing the denser areas up here. So this has got a lot of interest, and I like it. Now, when the flowers were mentioned, take a look at this. Is this right here what someone had mentioned, the tulip shapes for 2 leaves? And maybe that's the center of the tulip, because if we go down, that's not the one, but that is in there. This is another color variation, and look how different this looks. Now this is where, to me, the emphasis is really on this row here, because it is a darker and more intense color than the colors around it. They're more background colors to this right here. And then with adding the white around it, in both of these, there's color repetition and beads added in, which look really nice. And it's nice that there's only 1 in these larger open areas, because it still keeps that shape. You can still see the negative space shape. Whereas here, notice the chains in the center here don't show as much because negative space because of the beads in it. And then there's beads added in to this, the 5 ring groupings on the outside in between them. So you don't have that division, but you have the color change of the purple beads and the blue So you're getting a lot, and yet it all looks like a cohesive, unifying whole. Whether you like the color combination or not, um, it works. Now let me go back because I'm back there. I don't see the color one. I'm going to send you the color one for you to look done in color and see what differences you see in the other color one that she has. So that is just about it for today, I think. Are there any questions or comments? I do want you to, and this is what you'll be doing if you're participating in the class. You can do either of two things for your first project. You can just use designing the your next row on this project and then the next one and all as you go. And we will talk about what each of you design. We can look at them, and if you want, I can put, like I used to do when I had a different website, I had a page that wasn't connected to any of the other pages in the website, but we could look at it. So I can do that for those of you who don't want to share what you're adding with other people that are not actually in our class. Or I can put it can go on a public homework page. So we'll have two different places that it can go. Some people don't want anything that they're designing to be shown where the public can reach it. And this page, you could only reach it through the address that I give for that one page. Oh, you have my necklace. Thank you. Thank you. I'll go to my face again. Yeah, I've had that for quite a while. And it's, I really like it. It's kind of, I don't think it's real bone. I think it's fake bone, but that's one of my favorite pieces. No questions? If you do not want to work on that for your first project, that's fine too. Just start designing any kind of a medallion or doily you want. And if your mind is going to something else, if you have a particular idea in mind that you want to do, please go with that idea, no matter what it is. And we can look at it in class if you want feedback and ideas, or I can keep it private. So whichever way you want to go and whatever you want to work on during the class is always okay. But we will always be taking a look at and talking about the design aspect of the new rows that you're adding. Okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed today. And I am not connected with the online tatting class as far as the likes and everything like that. Not that I wouldn't love to have likes if you do feel that this is worthwhile, which is, I do like to know that too. If there's anything, I know there are things I can do better, and I will be working on them. It's, I have to admit, although I'm quite computer savvy, a lot of you don't know my background, but in 1990, I became interested in computer design, and after seeing a class that was next door to a desktop publishing class I was taking, and I just fell in love. They were using CorelDRAW and everything they could do, and the instructor was starting a new multimedia program, so I enrolled and went through that, and kind of ended up focusing on web design, and I ended up teaching in the program. But I don't have a background in computers any before that. So sometimes being 75, my brain doesn't always remember things right away, which is why sometimes I even lose track of what I'm talking about. And my mind goes a mile a minute. I'm one of those people. Oh, you still use? I noticed that that you use that in something you mentioned before, Sue. Yeah, yeah. I use Adobe because that happens to be the programs that were used in that. It was a certificate program I went through. So I have a certificate that I've been through it, and it was multimedia is a study of like all the programs, computer drawing, uh, photo imaging, um, like Photoshop. We used PageMaker. You too, yes. So it gets addled, doesn't it? It's so, okay, well, thanks for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.